Hello and welcome. I'm Ryan Clark, the Oregon State Beavers beat writer for the Oregonian and Oregon Live, and you are listening to Beavers Beat, short-form podcast keeping you in the loop on everything Oregon State sports. Fall camp is wrapping up. The Beavers held their final open practice on Monday and have a couple days off this week in between a few more practices which are closed to the media. Coach Trent Bray and company are hunkering down with a little under 2 weeks until kickoff against California. Game prep starts next week, with Bray's first game week press conference scheduled for Monday, August 25th. The Beavers will face Cal at 7:30 p.m. on August 30th at Reser Stadium. After the team's second scrimmage this past Saturday, which featured mostly the 2s and 3s for the Beavers, Bray talked about the importance of giving his starters rest after a grueling fall camp.
What's the idea behind giving some of the ones a little bit of a break today and looking ahead?
Yeah, we kind of looked at it. All our ones have over 250 reps in camp. So you're talking about 4 games worth of reps. The 2 live situations we had before, they were extremely well, and they did a great job tackling, so that wasn't a concern. And just the way they practice. If you practice tackling, it's all feet, body position, and strike zone. You can practice tackling every day, even when you got no pads on. They do a great job of that. So it was more, let's get them fresh, right? So when we get into Cal, they're operating at 100% and can fly around.
I was there for every possible practice this fall. Based on what I saw, I put together a projected depth chart for the Beavers that you can check out on OregonLive.com now. Throughout fall camp, some key trends emerged, from injuries to personnel decisions to proper execution on both sides of the ball. Here are 5 storylines to follow as OSU's season opener against Cal approaches. Number 1, Malik Murphy's consistency. The Duke transfer and presumptive starting quarterback had a strong fall camp overall, and the hype is real for a guy OSU paid big money for in the NIL marketplace. He adds a dimension through the air that the Beavers haven't had in a while. But there were definitely some growth moments for Murphy. Part of why he threw 12 interceptions last season at Duke in his first year as a starter was a tendency to force it downfield, and that has happened at different points in camp at Oregon State. It happened multiple times on Monday, which was our final chance to check out the OSU offense in open practice. Now, everybody is entitled to one bad day, even several, as progress is far from a straight line in camp and is by no means an indicator of things to come. But Murphy did force it into double coverage to Trent Walker on multiple throws and near triple coverage on a ball that he had a bit too much air underneath, which was picked off by Jaheim Patterson. There's no doubt that Murphy can spin it, especially deep, and he's got some fast receivers to throw it to. But OSU's fortunes this season will rely on his decision-making and consistency, even if this is still a run-first team carried by senior Anthony Hankerson. Number 2, the emergence of Eddie Freehoff. Regardless of who is healthy in a banged-up receiving core, redshirt freshman wideout Eddie Freehoff was one of the stars of fall camp for the Beavers. Every day that we were able to watch practice, it seemed that the 6'3" muscular Freehoff went up and snagged a ball out of the air, utilizing his frame to give OSU a true possession receiver in the red zone and elsewhere. Freehoff hasn't played football for long. Adopted from Uganda as a child by parents in Prineville, Oregon, he has one of the most unique and compelling stories on the OSU roster. He ran with the ones for the majority of practices that we saw, even kept under a watchful eye by coaches in the most recent few practices in order to make sure he stays healthy. That is how important Freehoff could be to this OSU passing offense, acting as a welcome complement to speedy wideouts like Trent Walker, Taz Reddix, and David Wells. Here's what Freehoff had to say about his progress.
Do you feel like you've fallen more in love with the game over the years, especially now that you're at the college level?
I've fallen more in love with it because I've learned more about it. I didn't when I first got here, I just liked football. I didn't really know the ins and outs of it. But as the time has gone on, my time here, I've learned more, and that's what got me to love it even more. So, and that's from the help of Coach McCain teaching me the different routes, schemes, and all the ins and outs. And that part of it and the film watching has made me love the game a whole lot more.
And probably being around this group too, I would imagine.
Exactly,
You know, just
yeah.
the friendships,
The
and
friendship, the
camaraderie.
team camaraderie. Everybody's like a family here, so it's great. It's a very great environment to be in.
Number 3, the health of Darius Clemens. One of the stipulations of media being able to view fall camp practices is that we don't report on injuries when they happen. The team is rightfully concerned about it providing a competitive advantage to opponents. But as we've progressed to the end of fall camp, we've started to learn more about the status of one of OSU's top wideouts, Darius Clemens, who injured his left leg in practice last week. Clemens went down in a lot of pain, a non-contact injury to his left leg, which required him to be carted off the field. We later saw Clemens at multiple practices wearing a walking boot, utilizing both a scooter and crutches to get around. Asked about the status of Clemens and other injured players, Bray offered little by way of detail, as expected. But he did answer a specific question about the availability of both Clemens and linebacker Micaiah Tongue for Week 1, saying there is a, quote, good chance that they will not be available for Week 1. Whether Clemens' injury is minor or something more long-term, adding Eddie Freehoff into the mix couldn't have come at a better time for the Beavers, who need a big physical receiver to balance things out. Number 4, an improved Beavers pass rush. It has been a tremendous camp overall for Nebraska transfer Kai Wallen, who has been getting after the quarterback from day one in between his fishing trips near Corvallis to local rivers and lakes. You pair him with Nico Taylor on the edge, substituted with another newcomer in Walker Harris, who happens to be Kai Wallen's fishing buddy, and emerging young players like Takari Hickle and Shamar Michael, and you have a recipe for a legitimately dangerous edge group. Rushing the passer was by far the biggest fault of a middling to outright bad OSU defense last year, as the Beavers went 5-7, including losing 6 of their final 7 games. The Beavers addressed their needs in the portal, especially on the edge, made some changes to the coaching staff structure, and really focused on developing and working on the bodies of the different players who were thrown into the fire last season as a young player. Walker Harris believes that this edge unit's camaraderie is a big reason for its success in fall camp, whether it's going fishing with Wallen or bonding at team events.
Yeah, so, I mean, this summer we really took an initiative to just get really close as a team, and you don't see that nowadays with, everybody taking off from the transfer portal. So we made it a priority to really get close together as a group, and we really feel each other's presence. We know what each other's are going through and how to build off that, and we just understand each other very well, and we've came together as a group very well and meshed.
Number 5, Trent Bray's energy and presence on defense. The OSU head coach will also serve as defensive coordinator this fall, filling the role of the outgoing Keith Hayward, who coincidentally is now the defensive backs coach for Cal. When Hayward makes his return to Reeser next Saturday, he is likely to see an OSU defense playing with a newfound fire and speed to the ball. With each passing practice, the Beavers' closing speed and collective energy seems to increase several times over. Interceptions by the defensive backs lead to bigger reactions on the sidelines, sacks are more frequent from the front 7, and proper technique was on display throughout camp, particularly in the open field. Much of this can be attributed to Bray, according to players, and Bray's colorful language can be often heard from the stands by the media in attendance every time the Beavers make a mistake or he didn't like something specifically that they did scheme-wise. There are obviously a lot of mistakes in camp, so that's an inevitability for players, but I think his fire showed up pretty commonly on the positive side as well, encouraging the players who made great plays for their defense to continue to do what they were doing. And this is a defense that's determined to make big strides in 2025. That begins with forcing turnovers, according to Bray.
And your thoughts on how the defense played today? The first 2 drives of the scrimmage came away with some turnovers.
Yeah, that was good to see. Again, young guys in the back end, able to create some turnovers and then make some plays, which is huge for not only the team, right, giving the ball back to the offense, but that's kind of want to be our identity, being fast, physical, flying around, which creates turnovers.
For more in-depth stories and analysis ahead of Oregon State's 2025 football season, visit OregonLive.com/Beavers. We've got feature stories in the works, including a profile on a hometown hero in tight end Riley Williams. You can follow me on Twitter/X and on Blue Sky at Ryan T. Clark, and keep up with the Oregonian socials for plenty of content throughout the season. Thanks for joining us.